Good afternoon, classmates. Good afternoon, Doc. This is the continuation of the report of Chapter 13, Building Information Security in Information System. For modeling and design systems, there are two types, structured and object-oriented methodologies. In structured methodologies, the term structure describes the process as being step by step, with each building the one before it. It is a process of a software development that uses a systematic and structured approach to design and develop software applications. It focuses on process involved in software system, modeling them as a series of connected steps, wherein there are also two approach to be considered. First, it's a top-down approach from the general to specific, breaking down complex system into smaller, simpler parts that can be easily understood. Second is the process-oriented, structured development methodologies. It is a place a strong emphasis on the modeling the processes. For data dictionary, it is an additional tool for structured analysis and provided details on both individual data items and data grouping within the system. This helps the system builders be aware of what exactly types of data are contained in data flows and data stored. For a process structured methodology, there are certain processes such as systems requirements analysis. This involves the phase gathering and analyzing the requirements of the system. Second is the system design. In this phase, the system is designed in the terms of modules or functions, and the flowchart is created to depict the flow of control within the system. Next is implementing. This phase, the code is written and compiled. For testing, the system is tested to ensure that it meets the requirements specified in the first phase. Next is conversion. In this phase, it involves training the users and technical staffs. And last, production and maintenance. In this phase, the system is maintained and updated as needed. This is the example of structured analysis methodologies. In this figure, it shows a simple data flow diagram for a mall in university course, wherein registration system. The rounded boxes represented processes which portray the transformation of data. The square box represents an external entity, which is an originator or receiver of data located outside the boundaries of the system being modeled. The open rectangles represented data stores, which are either manual or automated inventories of data. The arrows represents data flow, which show the movement between processes, external entities, and data stores. They always contain packets of data with the name or content of each data flow listed beside the arrow. For object-oriented development, it is the fundamental building block of system analysis and design in object-oriented development. Data is encapsulated in an object can be accessed and modified only by the operations or methods associated with that object. Instead of passing data to procedures, programs send a message for an object to perform an operations that is already embedded on it. It is based on the object of class and inheritance belonging to a certain class or general categories of similar object have the features of that class. Classes of the objects in turn can inherit all the structures and behaviors of a moral general class, and then add variables and behaviors unique to each object. This is a example of data gathering in object-oriented analysis. In this figure, it illustrates relationships among classes concerning employees and how they are get paid. Employees is the common Employee is the common ancestor or superclass. For the other three classes, salaried, hourly, uh, and temporary are subclasses of employee. The class name is in the top compartment. That attributes for each class or in the middle portion of each box, and the list of operations is in the middle portion of each box. The features that are shared by all employees, such as ID, name, address, data hired, position, and pay, are stored in the employee superclass, whereas each subclass stores features that are specific to the particular type of employee. Specific to hourly employees, for example, are there hourly rates and overtime rates? A solid line from the subclass to the subclass is a generalization path showing that the subclass is salaried, hourly, and temporarily have common features that can be generalized into superclass employee. The phases of object-oriented development are similar to those of conventional system development, consisting of analysis, design, and implementation. However, object-oriented development is more iterative and incremental than traditional structured development. During analysis system builders documents the functional requirements of the system, specifying its most important properties and what the proposed system must do. Interaction between the system and its users are analyzed to identify objects, which includes both data and processes. In computer-aided software engineering, it is also known as a computer-aided system engineering, offers software tools to automate the approaches we just outlined. It is also facilitate the creation of clear and the coordination of the team development effort. CASE tools provide automated graphics facilities for producing charts and diagram, screen and reports generators, data dictionaries, extensive reporting facilities, analysis and checking tools, code generators, and documentation generators. In general, CASE tools try to increase productivity and quality by doing the following. First is upholding a uniform approach to design and development, enhancing dialogue between user and technical experts, using a design repository to organize and correlate design component and give quick access to them, automating labor use and prone to error analysis and design processes, automating control rollout testing and code generation. For the design diagrams and specification validation, 8 functions are available in CASE tools. CASE tools or CASE technologies help iterative design by automating changes and revising and offering prototype resources. Front-end CASE tools focus on capturing analysis and design information in the early stage of system development, whereas back-end CASE tools address coding, testing, and maintenance activities. Back-end tools help convert specification automatically and program code. For this computer-aided software engineering, it gives an input to for manufacturing or certain companies uh, to make the production easy or monitoring more much easier rather than the manual recording, such as in for example in preventive maintenance. They have codes, they have certain reports to be done and to be monitored. That's all. For alternative system building approaches, systems vary in terms of their technological complexity, size, and the organizational issues they are intended to address. To deal with these discrepancies, a number of systems construction strategies have been created. These sections describes these alternative methods: the traditional system life cycle, prototyping, end user development, application software packages, and outsourcing. For traditional system life cycle, the earliest technique for creating information system is called system life cycle. The life cycle methodology is a phased approach to build a system, dividing system development into formal stage. System development specialists have different opinions on how to partition the system building stages, but they roughly correspond to the stages of systems development that we have just described. The system life cycle is still used for building large complex systems that are required a rigorous and formal requirements analysis, predefined specification, and tight controls over the system build process. However, the system life cycle approach can be costly, time-consuming, and inflexible. Although systems builder can go back and forth among stages in the life cycle, the system life cycle is predominantly a waterfall approach in which tasks in one stage are completed before a work for the next stage begins. For prototyping consists of building an experimental systems rapidly and inexpensively for end users to evaluate. By interacting with the prototype, users can get a better idea of their information requirements. The prototype endorsed by the users can be used as a template to create the final system. Iterative system development refers to the process of creating a preliminary design, testing it, improving it, and attempting it again. This is a possible because the actions needed to create a system may be repeatedly repeated. This is a system used to be a template system by a different organization or different companies wherein uh, they can innovate such prototype or they can terminate if it is not compatible for their company. This is a better way to develop another system in order to adapt to their company. Prototyping procedures are identify the user basic requirements. The system designer works with the user only long enough to capture the user's basic information needs. The second step is develop an initial prototype. The system designer creates a working prototype quickly using tools for rapidly generating software. Step 3 is the use of the prototype. The user is encouraged to work with the system to determine how well the prototype meets his or her needs and to make suggestions for improving the prototype. Step 4 is the revise and enhance the prototype. The system builder notes all the changes the user requests and refines the prototype accordingly. After the prototype has been revised, the cycle returns to step 3. Then step 3 and 4 are repeatedly until the user is satisfied. For advantage of these are the advantages of prototyping. First, is the prototyping is the most useful when there is more uncertainty about requirements or design solutions. Second, it is the useful in designing an information system and user interface, the part of the system with which end users interact, such as online display and data entry screens, reports, or web pages. For disadvantages, first is the rapid prototyping may omit crucial system development process. If the finished prototype functions relatively well, management might not see the necessary or necessity for the redesigning, reprogramming, or doing exhaustive testing and documentation to create a polished production system. It might struggle to handle a lot of data or a lot of users in a production environment. Development for end users. Some type of information systems can be developed by end users with a little or no formal assistance from technical specialists. This phenomenon is called end user development. A series of software tools categorized as fourth generation languages makes this possible. The fourth generation languages are software tools that enable end users to create reports or develop software's application with minimal or no technical assistance. Some of these fourth generation tools also enhance professional programmers' productivity. Fourth generation languages tend to be non-procedural or less procedural than the conventional programming languages. Procedural languages require specification of the sequence of steps or procedures that tells the computer what to do and how to do it. Non-procedural languages need only specify what has to be accomplished rather than provide detail about how to carry out the task. For this table, it shows that there are 7 categories of fourth generation languages. PC software tools, query languages, report generators, graphic languages, or application generators, application software packages, and very high-level programming languages. The table shows that the tool ordered in terms of ease of use by non-programming end users. End users are most likely to work with PC software tools and query languages. Query languages are software tools that provide immediate online answers to requests for the information that are not predefined, such as who are the highest performing sales representative. Query languages are often tied to data management software and to data management systems. On the whole, end users development system can be completed more rapidly than those development through the conventional system life cycle, allowing users to specific their own business need improves requirements gathering and often leads to higher level of user. For outsourcing and application software packages, the majority of today's software are not created internally, but rather are bought from outside vendors. The program might be rented from a software service provider, purchased from commercial vendor, or produced as a custom application by an external outsourced company. Uh, for example, it's the window on technology. It illustrates a company that's using multiple approaches to obtain better systems. Eli Tahari Limited is using software packages for business transactions systems and for end users computing tools. For example, these are using in accounting and other hiring, what you call that, human resource program wherein you will just encode by some systems, and you will study, and you will there are instructions to be followed, and it is easier to use. For packages for application software, systems have been built on an application software package foundation. Many applications are common to all business organizations, such as payroll, receivable, ledger, inventory control. For such universal functions with standard processes that do not change a great deal over time, a general system will fulfill the requirements of many organizations. The majority of an organization's requirements may be fed or met by a software package, eliminating the need of the company to develop custom software, utilizing the pre-written, pre-designed, and pre-tested software packages from the bundles allows the business to save time and money. For outsourcing, if a firm does not want to use its internal resources to build or operate information system, it can outsource the work to an external organization that specializes in providing these services. Application services provides are one of form of outsourcing. Subscribing companies would use the software and computer hardware provided by the ASP as a technical platforms for their systems. In another forms of outsourcing, a company could hire an external vendor to design and create the software for each system, but that company would operate the system on its own company. The outsourcing vendor might be domestic or in another country. Outsourcing has become popular because some organizations perceive it is as providing more value than in-house computer center or information system staff. The providers of outsourcing services benefits from economies of scale and complementary core competencies that would be difficult for a firm that does not specialize in information technology services to replicate. Just like in my organization that I'm into, we're using outsourcing softwares wherein we hire or we pay company to develop a program that is aligned to the usage of our company, and then they are obliged to maintain and to monitor the such system. For comparison of system development approach, first is the system life cycle. Its features sequential step-by-step formal process, written specification and approvals, limited roles of user. The exam advantage is used for large complex system and projects. And for disadvantage, slow and expensive, discourages changes, massive paper to work to manage. For prototype, requirements specified dynamically with experimental system, rapid information and iterative process. Users continually interact with the prototype. For advantage, inexpensive, useful when requirements in uncertain or when end user interface is very important. It promotes users' participation. For disadvantages, inappropriate for large complex system. For application software package, commercial software eliminates needs for internally developed software programs. For advantage, designing, programming, installation, and maintenance work reduced. It can save time and cost when developing common business applications. It reduces needs for internal information system resources. For disadvantages, may not meet the organization unique requirements, may not perform many business functions. Well, extensive customization raises development cost. For end user development, system created by end users using fourth generation software tools. rapid and informal, minimal role of information system specialist. Users can control systems building, save development time and cost, reduces applications backlog. For disadvantage, yes, can lead to proliferation of uncontrolled information system and data systems. Do not always meet quality assurance system. For outsourcing, system built and sometimes operated by an external vendor. It can reduce or control cost, can produce a system when internally resources are not available or technically deficient. For disadvantages, a loss of control over the information system function, dependence on the technical directions and prosperity of the external vendors. For the development of application for the digital firm, the environment of digital company or companies must be able to swiftly add, modify, and retire their technological capabilities in order to take advantage of new opportunities, such as the requirements to develop applications for mobile platforms. In addition to using software packages, application software service providers and other outsourcing services or businesses are relying more heavily on fast cycle techniques such as joint application design, prototypes, and reusable standardized software components that can be assembled into a complete set of services for e-commerce and e-business. For development of application for digital firms, there are two types: the rapid application development, wherein it includes the use of visual programming and other tools for building graphical user interfaces, iterative prototyping of key system elements, the automation of program code generation, and close teamwork among end users and information system specialists. Simple systems often are assembled from rebuilt components. The process does not have to be sequential, and key parts of development occurs simultaneously. For JAD or Joint Application Design, it is used to accelerate the generation of information requirements and to develop the initial system designs. It brings the end users and information systems specialists together in an interactive sessions to discuss the system's design. For development based on component and web services or CBD, it is a procedure that accentuates the design and development of computer-based systems with the help of reusable software components. With CBD, the focus shifts from software programming to software system composing. It involves methods of developing softwares that enable the system assembly and integration of pre-existing software components to create a system. These software components are increasingly emerges from cloud services. The key goals of CBD are as follows. It saves time and money when building large and complex systems. It enhances the software quality. And last, it detects defects within the systems. Web services and service-oriented computing. Service-oriented is the core reference model for cloud computing systems. This approach adopts the concept of services as the main building blocks of applications and system development. It supports the development of rapid, low-cost, flexible, interoperable, and evolvable applications and systems. There are two types wherein XML is or extensive markup language is a simple, very flexible text format derived from SGML or other term ISO 8879. Originally designed to meet the challenges of large-scale electronic publishing. XML is also playing an increasing important role in the exchange of a wide variety of data on the web and elsewhere. For web services, have the ability to carry out a number of tasks on their own and can also work with the other web services to carry and out more complicated tasks like purchasing, ordering things, or checking credits. Mobile application development is the process of making software for smartphones, tablet, and digital assistants, most commonly for the Android and iOS operation systems. The software can be pre-installed on the device, downloaded from a mobile app, stored or accessed through a mobile web browser. The programming and markup language used for this kind of software development includes Java, Swift, C, and HTML. These are the common applications that we are using for today's technology in our gadgets, in cell phones, in tablets. We are all using softwares wherein interact or uh, we can be easily be used by we can use in our daily lives. Well, thank you so much for this is my report, and God bless.